supposingly you are given a quadratic equation as x square minus 4 equals to 0, you can easily give me the answer as x minus 2 into x plus 2 equals to 0, which implies that x is equal to plus 2 or minus 2 correspondingly. But instead of this, if I give you x square plus 4 equals to 0, then if this was asked in class 10th, you would tell me that, Miss, this cannot be solved. But now in class 11th and 12th, we have this particular concept also which can be studied and for which we introduce the word I over here. This is the imaginary part which we are going to introduce. Now, the standard notation is that I square is to be taken as minus 1. This is a fact which you are going to now remember and apply it throughout the chapter of the complex number. Now, let's see that what is a complex number. First of all, the notation. It's written by Z and the representation is A plus IB, where your A and B both are real numbers. Keep that in mind. They are not imaginary. They are real numbers and you are just talking about now. See, this will be said as real part because this is purely real. And this part, since it is associated with the word I, therefore this is known as imaginary. Right? So now complex number will be defined as what now? A composition of real and imaginary part. Now, always remember the standard notation is always going to be A plus IB. Supposingly, I write as, let's say, Z is equal to 2 minus 3I. Then how do we write it? This has to be written as 2 plus and minus 3I. You must remember that addition and multiplication are the two basic operations and subtraction and division are derived operations. Although in our junior classes, we have been saying as plus, minus, multiplication, division as the operations there. But now, as you grow up and you go to the higher classes, you go into more preciseness over here and then you conclude that minus and division are the derived operation. So now you can see over here 2 minus 3I has been written as 2 plus minus 3I, where both 2 and minus 3 are real numbers then. Now, so therefore remember that the standard form of writing all your answers for the complex number are going to be Z is equal to A plus IB. You are never going to leave your answer with a negative operation. Keep that in mind. Another thing is now, like you could represent your natural numbers, you could write your whole numbers, you could write your integers, right? You could write R rational numbers, irrational numbers, all these have got representation. Similarly, Z also, which is a complex number. Now see, this has to be a small letter Z, not capital letter Z, because if you remember, capital letter Z was being used in your class 10 for integers also. So here now for complex number, we're going to use small letter Z, right? It's looking like block, but it is, I've written small there. So it has to be small Z there. Now, this also has a representation. Now, again, I'm taking up, let's say, I have the number 2 plus 3I. Now, for this, we take the help of the coordinate plane, right? You know this is X, this is Y, this is positive, this is also positive, this is negative Y, and this is negative X. Okay. Now, if I write 2 plus 3I, it means I am again starting from the origin. I move 2 units here and 3 units up here. This gives me 2 plus 3I over here. This is the location of my first Z, that is this particular point. Movement is going to be again like the coordinate axis only. First, parallel to the X, then you move parallel to the Y axis. Now, supposingly if I had given as another one, let's say another Z is been given to you as 2 minus 3I, right? You know now this, it has to be written as this, in this way. 2 plus minus 3. Now how do we move? So first I go 2 and it is minus 3. So minus 3 would mean I will come down and this is going to give me the position of 2 minus 3i. So remember that 2 plus 3i is not the same thing as 2 minus 3i. So representation of the complex number is done with the help of the coordinate axis over here. This is something extra which I am telling you over here. Okay. Now, like in the natural number system, whole number system, you can apply the operations. That is, you can add, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can divide. Similarly, here also, you can add two complex numbers, you can subtract, you can multiply, you can do all these four operations with it. Now, but you have to keep in mind the algebra which you have already learned in your junior classes, right? That is why this is known as the algebra of complex numbers, because the basic concept remains the same, which you are carrying on from your junior classes. Let's say my Z1, I'm taking it to be, again, I'm taking 2 plus 3i, and I'm taking Z2, let's say, as 5 minus 4i. Okay. Now, you remember in algebra, when you were adding, you used to follow the concept of the like columns. So here also, they are in the like terms form column over here. So therefore now, Z1 plus Z2 can be written as 2 plus 5, 7. Plus 3 and minus 4 will give you minus 1, and this is I. Now again, this can be written as 7 plus minus 1 times I. Now you can see again, this is a complex number. It has got a real part here and another imaginary part. So let's say if this is some complex number, let's say Z3. So you can now say, make one statement that Z1 plus Z2 is again giving you another complex number. So therefore, you can note this as an identity, that addition operation can be applied even to complex numbers also, like you were able to do it in the other number system. Now let's check another one with the minus. Z1 minus Z2. I'm using the same complex numbers again. This is, let me number this as one complex number, this is the second one. Now, again, in algebra, how do you do the subtraction? You do it again with the help of the minus like columns. Here also the same thing. And you change the signs of the lower one. So therefore, 2 minus 5 will give me minus 3. Plus 3, let me write again. Z1 equals to 2 plus 3i. Z1 giving you 5 minus 4i. Now, when you were doing the algebraic subtraction, you changed the signs. This is how you did. So, Z1, same thing. Z1 minus Z2 will give you 2 minus 5, giving you minus 3. 3 plus 4, giving you 7i over here. So, now this becomes your answer over here. Now, again, you can say, let's say this is 7i, giving you some complex number, let's say 4. So now you can see that Z1 minus Z2 is also giving you another complex number, Z4. So now you can see subtraction operation can also be applied to your complex numbers as you could do it for the other number system. Right? Now let's see the third operation. Z1 into Z2. Now again, algebraic multiplication. I'm going to do it in the same manner. I had my Z1 as Z1 as 2 plus 3i and Z2 is 5 minus 4i. Now, if you have to do the multiplication algebraically, you would follow this. What is the concept? You multiply every term of the first expression by every term of the second expression. This is what you follow. So now I'm doing it. 5 2s are 10, 15i. Then in the next line you write minus 8i and minus 12i square. And then you add. I'm following the concept of the basic algebraic multiplication. Now when you do, you add it up. Plus 15 and minus 8 gives you plus 7i. This is minus 12 times of minus 1 now. This, I've already told you, I started the lesson with it. Wherever you find I square, always it will be minus 1. Now, 10 plus 7i, this becomes now plus 12, which gives you 10 plus 12 is 22 plus 7i. Again, you can see real part, imaginary part. Let's say this is some other number now, fifth one. So again, now you can make the statement that Z1 into Z2 also gives you another complex number, that is fifth one, Z5. Right? So you have applied addition, you have applied subtraction, you have done the multiplication operation to the complex numbers over here, which again results in another complex number. Keeping in mind that I square is to be replaced by minus 1, because that is the standard fact value which we have to remember for the imaginary part. Now let's see again another one. Z1 divided by Z2. Now which means I'm talking about 2 plus 3i divided by 5 minus 4i. Now in this, when we are talking about the division, we are going to introduce the word now, conjugate word. Right? Now conjugate, if you remember, go back to your classes, class 10, and where you were talking about rationalization. If you had a number, let's say 2 plus root 3, and you had to rationalize it, what did you do? You multiplied and divided it by 2 minus root 3. This is what you did. Same concept is to be applied here also. When you're talking about the conjugate of any complex number, group it into two parts and then replace the sign in the middle with the opposite one. That is, the plus gets replaced with the minus and minus gets replaced with the positive sign. Supposingly, I had 2 plus 3i only. Okay, this is Z I'm writing. Conjugate representation is written as Z bar. This is conjugate of Z, which means now I set into two groups, so they are true group, 2 and 3i. Now this had a plus sign, so plus changes to minus over here. So conjugate of my Z, which was 2 plus 3i, will be written as 2 minus 3i over here. Another example, take this, second one. If I had Z as 5 minus 4i. Now again see, Z conjugate or Z bar. This would be now, two groups are what? 5 and 4i. So I write that. And the middle one, the operation is now minus. So minus changes to plus over here. So conjugate of the number 5 minus 4i will be 5 plus 4i. Another thing, why were you using the conjugate concept over here when you were rationalizing it? Why? The reason being, you know that a minus b into a plus b is nothing else but a square minus b square. We are going to use this and the conjugate concept over here when you're talking about the division. Okay. Another thing which you have to remember, supposingly I wrote a fraction like this. A plus b upon c, right? This can be split up as a by c plus b by c. This is absolutely correct, right? But if this was written as, and if you wrote like this is absolutely wrong. Why? Because you can split the numerator but not the denominator. If you work this out on the right hand side, what will you get? See, LCM would be BC. You're going to get AC. plus AB, right? Which is not the same thing as this. This is going to give you A plus B upon C. So therefore, this is not the same thing as this. So therefore, please do not split the denominator. That is why you have to remember over here now. That is, you are going to reduce the denominator to a single term like this so that you can split up your fraction over here. So I'm going to multiply the number over here by the conjugate of only the denominator, not of the numerator. So 2 plus 3i being multiplied by the conjugate of the denominator. Keep noting down the way I am writing because presentation counts. Now see, when you multiply the numerator, you are going, now I'm not showing you the algebraic multiplication because I take it for granted that you'll remember from class, junior classes. Now, writing the answer, 2 5s are 10, plus you're going to have 15i, 8i, that gives you 23i, plus 12i square. This is in the numerator, okay? In the denominator, I'm going to get 25 minus 16 I square. Okay, using my difference of two squares over here. Now, when I write this, when I simplify it, you know that multiplication and addition and subtraction, all of them in turn give you a complex number only. So therefore, now simplifying it further, I'm writing it as 10 plus 23i minus, now this becomes 12 because I'm replacing my I square by minus 1 and giving you minus 12 here. This is now again the same thing, 25 minus 16 times minus 1. So now this comes out to be now this will be what? 10 minus 12 is going to give you minus 2. This is going to give you 23i upon denominator now. See, 25 and this is minus 16 into minus plus 1 will give you positive. So 25 plus 16 gives you 41. Now, see, this can be split up into two parts. That is, I can write it as minus 2 by 41 plus 23 by 41i. Now, you can see over here, this is one part and this is another part. Real and imaginary. And this gives you another complex number over here. Let's say this is Z6. So what did we arrive at? That is Z1 divided by Z2 is also another complex number. Right? So addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, all of them can be applied to your complex number over here. Okay. Now, you must remember the standard form, which I've already told you. It has to be always as A plus IB. If you leave your answer in the negative numbers over here, then you will get a 0 for your final answer. Keep that in mind. Now, the next thing which I would like to explain is, we have been taking I square as minus 1. Okay. Now, you must remember, like supposingly I had minus 2, let's say, for example. I'm just explaining to you with the help of the number system. Minus 2 to the power of 3 if I had, let's say. Okay. This is a negative number. This is an odd power. You know the fact that odd power of a negative number gives you a negative number only. Right? The answer would be over here, what? Minus 8. All of us know this. Okay. But the fact which I'm trying to bring out is that a negative number raised to the odd power will always be negative. Right? Similarly, now let's see. I have the same number minus 2, but this time I'm raising it to the power of 4. This is an even number. Now this is going to give you what? Minus 2 to the power of 4 is going to give me the answer as 16. And this is a positive number. So what do you observe over here? That negative number, when it is raised to the even power, the answer is positive. But when it is raised to the odd power, the answer is negative. Clear? So now, if supposingly I have I squared to the power of 3 now, you know that I square is minus 1. So minus 1 to the power of 3. So therefore now, a negative number raised to the power of odd number giving you a negative number, that is this. So the value of I squared to the power of 3 is going to give you minus 1 over here. Okay. But now supposingly if I have I squared to the power of 4. Now I square again is taken as minus 1 to the power of 4. Now see again, negative number raised to the power of 4, which is an even number over here. Negative number raised to the power of even number, giving you a positive quantity, that is plus 1. Okay. Now, let's see. If I write now as I to the power of 4 to the power of, let's say, 3. Okay. I to the power of 4 will be what? Now, let's see this. I square into I square. I can write it as like to the power of 3. Okay. This is minus 1. This is minus 1. Minus 1 into minus 1 will give you as positive 1 to the power of 3. Positive number raised to the power of odd number will give you a positive number, that is plus 1 only. Right? So if I write it as I to the power of 4 and then express the answer, it's up to you. Whichever way you find it easy, you can give the answer. Okay. Now see, if I have, now see in the book also there is one question I am picking up. Let's say I to the power of 99. This is there in your book. Okay. Now, I can write it in two ways. How am I going to express it? First thing, I'm going to express it. I know the value of I square. So I'm going to write I this into 49 plus 1. Okay. So now you can see this. I square is what? Now using your indices, you can express it as power to the power. I square is minus 1. So minus 1 to the power of 49 times I. Now this is what? Negative number to the power of odd number. So that is going to give me a negative number. So this is this and this. So therefore the answer is minus I over here. Okay. Now, if I want to use in terms of 4, I to the power of 4 times, I can write it as 24 times gives me 96. Okay. Okay, wait, make this as 25 minus 1. I could do like this. I get I to the power of 4 to the power of 25 times I, this is I children, to the power of minus 1. Okay. Now see, I to the power of 4, we have already said it's positive 1, right? Over here also we said this, see? Okay. So this becomes plus 1. Now 1 to the power of 25 and I to the power of minus 1 over here. Okay. Now see, 1 to the power of 25 is going to give me 1 only, and I'll be left with I to the power of minus. Okay. Now this can be written as 1 upon I. Now, again, I cannot leave my answer like this. This is not the standard form. So I can write it by the multiplication of the conjugate. Let's say I. This becomes I square minus, and this is also I. Sorry, this will be multiplying it by 1 times of I upon I into I. Okay. This gives me I. This gives me I square. I know I square is equal to minus 1. So I upon minus 1 gives me minus I. So you can see now that even with the I square, or you use it the expression of I to the power of 4, either ways you can get the answer, right? Both the answers are right. Whichever way you are comfortable with, you can get started with it. Okay. Now, this is one of the questions which I picked up. Now, another question which I would like to show you over here. Let's see this. I'm just trying to show you the importance of the complex number over here, the imaginary iota word which we are using today. Now, let's say I'm picking up minus 25, a question from your book only, 25 into root 16 over here. Now see, we know the fact that root A, let me write root A into root B is what? This is what we have learned. But then both of them have to be non-negative numbers. That is the condition. Over here, it's not possible because this is not. If you apply this concept, then this is going to give you minus 25 into 16 and minus sign here, right? Which is absurd over here. I cannot get the answer. I cannot write it as minus 5 times into 4. This is also not valid. All this is wrong. So therefore, you need to remember the fact that this has an expression. So I'm going to write this as under root now minus 1 times 25. This is all under the root into root 16. And so therefore now this can be written as I square times 25 all under the root under root 16. Okay. Now see, since it is the perfect square, you can easily get the answer now. This will give me I, this will give me 5, and this will give me 4. So I have my answer as 5 4 20 I. This is the correct answer. Okay, not as plus minus anything else. So therefore remember that when you have a negative number under the root, it means it's talking about the imaginary number, not just a non-negative number there. Clear? Now, talking about the multiplicative inverse, let's say, you need to remember that A into B, if you have giving you identity with respect to the multiplication operation. Okay, then you say A and B are inverses of each other. All right. These are basic rules of the number system. So here also you can apply that. Okay. Now supposing if I have Z as a complex number and I want to have the inverse of it. So I should have Z into something giving me 1. Because I know that 1 is the multiplicative identity. Why? Because when you multiply any number by 1, you get back to the same number there. Okay. Identity means that only. All right, the number which does not bring any change when being operated with the number. So therefore, how can I write this? This is what I can write it as 1 by Z. So Z and 1 by Z are inverses of each other with respect to multiplicative inverses, right? Please don't get confused with the word conjugate. Conjugate is another thing. Z and Z conjugate. This is another thing. Then Z and 1 by z are multiplicative inverses. This is conjugate I'm talking about. Here, this is multiplicative inverse. Okay, so these are different things over here. Then another thing which I would like to talk about is the word modulus quickly before the meeting ends. The word modulus. Now, when you had, let's say, modulus 3 in class 10, you wrote it, you said, if I had asked you, you would say positive or negative, whatever the number may be inside, the answer would be just plus 3. But now modulus in complex number changes. This is the only term which has a different meaning over here. If I write mod z, it does not mean positive z. It means, the definition is, mod of z means square root of the sum of the squares of the real and the imaginary parts. This is when you are given as z as, let's say, x plus iy. Okay. Now mod z, supposingly if I had my z as 2 plus 3i. Okay. Mod z now would be under root of 2 square plus 3 square. That is under root of 4 plus 9, giving you under root of 13. This is mod z. Okay. But if I said z conjugate, what would be the answer? 2 minus 3i. Okay. So there's a difference between the word mod and there's a difference between the words conjugate over here. They are not the one and the same thing. Please be careful with it. All right. Now, there are certain properties also which you need to observe over here. Supposingly, your z was given to you as, let's say, 2 plus 3i upon 4 plus 5i. Okay. Now, you have already learned just now that the division of the two complex numbers gives you again another complex number. So if I have to talk about mod z now in this particular case, then I'm going to write it as mod z giving you mod of 2 plus 3i, 4 plus 5i, mod this, and this is nothing else. Again, it can be split up. 2 plus 3i mod separately and mod of the denominator separately. You could do it, right? So mod can be interpreted, can be split up in the fraction form also over here. So therefore, be careful when you are working with the complex numbers. Keep in mind they have to be in the standard form of a plus ib.